Hey everybody, day 25, and got Luke Michener back with me to be able to continue talking about the primer for anti-racist white educators. We've been through Principle 1, which was to listen, Principle 2, which was to learn, and now we're at Principle 3.
Acknowledge.
Acknowledge.
I talked a little bit today about giving credit where credit is due. We've mentioned this before, but folks have been doing this work for a really long time, and essentially everything I know, I've learned from somebody else who's been doing it. And so it's important to acknowledge where those ideas come from and give credit where it's due.
And I think this is one, if I'm honest, is like one of the most difficult ones for me, because in education, we're kind of taught that, steal as much as you can and use like this wonderful community of educators, both past and present, to be able to teach your students and give them the best possible education. But a lot of times that means that we're not so good at citing where we're getting things from. And so, personally, of the 10 principles, this is one of my bigger struggles, is just making sure, because there's always moments where I say something and I'm like, oh, I want to give credit. I mean, just the other day I was really trying to think about a quote that I know came from a person of color about how, whenever there's a situation with a shooting in the news or anything like that, white people's humanity is never questioned and people of color's humanity is never granted. And I still can't remember that because I didn't write it down and I didn't log it. So do your best to try to keep track of where you're getting those things from. We're going to talk a little bit about some acknowledgements that we would like to give for the work that this primer is based off of, as well as just who's influenced us. So
Yeah, and it would be hard and take a lot of time for us to run through the whole list. So I think we each just kind of picked one that jumped out. And for me, Robin DiAngelo's work on white fragility and white people engaging in these kinds of discussions and how put off they can be by that, and the sort of complex nature of understanding how to work through that, I think has been really invaluable and something I'm still trying to wrap my head around and catch myself trying to intentionally think through the lens of understanding her work as we move through this stuff.
Yeah, and if you're in Bellevue School District, we did actually get Robin DiAngelo to come do a seminar, and that's coming up in April. So if you want to go to that, let me know, and we'll try to get you the information. It's going to be at Interlake High School, I know, in their pack coming up. But for me, I'm going to say Glen Singleton. Glen Singleton is the author of Courageous Conversations About Race and has established the company, Pacific Education Group, that has been working with districts across the United States to be able to do racial equity work. And so much of what I do in my classes and the clubs I advise, these, my own curriculum that I build is based off of those Courageous Conversation protocols. And so I have to give a lot of credit for that. I use it a lot if you're talking about the compass and where you feel yourself going, whether it's thinking, feeling, believing, or acting. If we're talking about isolating race or making sure that we have a working understanding of our definition of race, those types of things for the 6 conditions, or the 4 agreements, I think are just so crucial whenever you're having these conversations. So stay engaged, speak your truth. The 4th one is accept and expect non-closure, and then the last one, why am I spacing it? I don't know at all. Speak your truth, stay engaged, experience discomfort. Oh, the biggest one, right?
Yeah, that's the big one. That's the fragility.
Yeah, exactly. It's the white fragility. And so those 4 agreements are a big piece of how I've been able to learn as much as I've learned in the last 6 years as an educator, and for the work that we continue to do. So Robin DiAngelo, Glen Singleton, thank you for teaching us and letting us to use your work to continue our work.
Yep. And then just one more quick note on acknowledging. We're also, I think, trying to be mindful of acknowledging students and other staff members in your immediate space who are also out there trying to do stuff, and kind of lifting them up, which is, I guess, something we'll talk more about later too.
Yeah.
But yeah, acknowledgement isn't just for sort of the top down. What did you learn from the pros? It can be applied to who's doing good work around you too.
Yeah, especially because as white men of privilege, we have gotten a lot of credit for doing work that other people in our building are doing as well. And so
sure.
Making sure that whenever you get spotlighted, that you are acknowledging and bringing in those people that have contributed to your success in the work that you're doing and ultimately racial equity.
Yeah.
So thanks. We'll see you soon for Principle 4.
Next time.